Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to another segment of the mindset of the incarcerated. We previously talked about the mindset of the incarcerated, how the survival skills kicks in, how one avoid different things while inside the bed of the beast. However, I'll be speaking on this particular part about when one starts to enter into society, meaning being released from prison, coming home. A lot of things that majority of them, or majority of us, neglects. Being inside the bed of the beast, a lot of things happens, a lot of things occur, and a lot of things you have to deal with. So let's get to it. Let's talk about the invisible trauma nobody talks about or sees when the incarcerated comes home. Once the gates open for you to begin your new journey of being released, you get the butterflies. You might get a little nervous. Of course, you're going to be nervous after doing decades behind the fence or behind the wall. You know, a lot of people, once they have entered into society, they think or say as their prison sentence have ended. However, it's often the day you discover what comes with that prison sentence upon being free. What the public sees as freedom, what your family sees as a smile. Now, today, what social media sees as pictures. What they don't see is the mind that spent years adapting to survive while incarcerated. Prison teaches lessons that make perfect sense on the inside. However, it creates invisible battles on the outside. Reason why: you learn to watch everyone before you trust anyone. Again, you learn to watch everyone before you trust anyone. You learn that showing too much emotion can be your vulnerable parts, which is vulnerability. You learn to keep your head on a swivel like an owl. You notice how an owl can look in front of him on the side and also turn his head all the way to the back. You learn to keep your back against the wall. You learn to keep your guard up. Reason why is because of the long, lengthy sentence you have. After enough years, those aren't delusions or decisions anymore. They're instincts. Then one day you come home. For the ones that are married, your wife might reaches out for your hand. For the ones that have children, your children wants a hug. Or someone just simply asks, are you okay? And for the incarcerated, the mindset of that person or that individual don't even know how to answer. not because they don't love them, not because they don't care, because somewhere along the way, survival became louder than emotions. You walk into a crowded restaurant and automatically you start to scan every face that's inside the place. You also choose the seat where you can see the entrance, a way of escaping if something was to happen. A sudden loud noise makes your heart jump. It's because you have done so much time, and these things are just natural instincts while behind the wall. Someone standing too close feels uncomfortable for a reason you can't even explain. Now, none of that is visible. People just think you've changed. Now, the hardest part is trying to explain something you don't fully understand yourself. How do you tell someone that prison didn't just take years from your life? Again, how do you tell someone that prison didn't just take years from your life? It changed the way your mind reacts into the world. The tragedy isn't that people expect you to come home and be the same. It's that many expect you to come home and exactly be the same before you leave. However, healing doesn't happen because the gate opens. It happens one conversation, one act of trust, one honest moment, one ordinary day at a time. Some people spend years rebuilding relationships. Others spend years rebuilding themselves. And many of us are doing both of the same thing at the same time. That's the trauma almost nobody sees. Not the bars, not the fences, not the razor wire, not the locked cells, not the loud noises, but the invisible habits, fears, and emotional armor that were built to survive one world. That world is the world that you're incarcerated. Because sometimes the last prison a person escapes is the one that's been living quietly inside their own mind. That's the trauma part of it. The mindset of the incarcerated, how he or she responds to the world at hand that we call the free world. This is what you're going to experience from your loved ones upon being released. The things that I have just spoken of are the things that the incarcerated or the ex-felon or the ex-convict, the inmate that's coming back into society. This is a stigma. This is something that is definitely going to happen, not at the same moment. However, it's going to have some type of effect upon one entering into society. I hope this information that I have just given is informative for the mothers that have sons incarcerated. You all might have to listen to this video 2, 3, maybe 4 times to get a clear understanding of what I have just said. So take heed and be mindful of the mindset of the incarcerated. Until next time, peace, love, and happiness.